have to do it in advance, and not just because you have to set a date and everything, but it's because it depends what day you're gonna set on how the waves are gonna be acting. And there are so many ways to predict that. You know, you can go online and there's many websites where they're gonna tell you how the weather is gonna be, the wind is gonna be blowing, what direction, what speed, and you also need to know how the swell is coming, right? If there's gonna be big waves, if there are gonna be small waves, the direction of them. Is the wave where you're planning to shoot gonna be working good? And so all these things, you can plan them ahead with more precision around 2 weeks ahead of it. But you gotta have in mind that everything can change the day of the shoot. So you always have to be ready to improvise, and maybe that day don't shoot the action sports, or just do some lifestyle, or just reschedule, you know, because it's gonna be so hard to control all these factors because you're dealing with nature. Besides that, the whole planning ahead and 2 weeks in advance and everything, you've also got, you know, prepare your gear, because you're not talking about just of your camera. There's a lot of gear involved in surf photography. First of all, I have here some of my gear. It's the housing. The housing is the cover for your camera so you can go underwater. This is for my Sony. This is the one I use for my Nikon. This is made of aluminum, and it is especially for surfing. There depends what type of water photography you're doing. There are different cases for surf photography and diving photography. This is because for diving, you need a housing that can handle pressure, and for surfing, you need a housing that can handle hits. You're gonna be, you know, like in constant movement, and you can hit either rock, sand, reef, or many other things, right? So you have to be ready for that, and you have to protect your camera from that. And so that's why we use this housing. I love shooting, especially surfing, with the trigger. We call this the trigger. Let me show you the other trigger. So it's almost, we call it a pistol grip. And you shoot, and that's when you take a photo. And it's so much easier to have this shooting surfing, because when everything's moving and you are on surface level of the ocean, with this, it allows you to lift your hand a little bit above your head and have a different perspective and shoot from above. So that's why I usually use the trigger. I also love having the handle, because this one you can hold it when you're going through the This is the port, and it is very important to keep an eye on it all the time. The port is what protects the lens, and if you have a tiny drop of water, it can affect your entire shoot. So you can be in the perfect position, right? And the surfer is taking an amazing wave. The wave is beautiful. You have the perfect lighting and everything, and you think you shoot the perfect image. But once you go into your computer and starting developing the photos and editing, you realize you have a little tiny drop of water in the middle of the lens. The whole image is gonna come out bad. It's gonna be all blurry, it's gonna be out of focus, and for oil to have it clean without any drop of water. And even if a wave splashes on you, the drops will, fall off and leave your port free of any imperfection. So little trick, I put some surf wax on the side, and so when I'm in the water, every, I don't know, 3-5 minutes, I put some on my finger and I rub it on my port. There's people that use candle wax, there's people that use sunblock, there's many tricks, but for me, this one has worked, and that's the one that I use so far.